Hi everyone. I hope everyone is staying healthy and taking care of yourselves. I was asked by my friends at Mudita to record this short message and guided meditation, which I hope will be useful for you at this time. Staying healthy is our responsibility, now and actually always. Thanks to this global pandemic, I believe we have a great opportunity to experience firsthand what is called the butterfly effect, the interconnection we all have. My immune system is not something that just concerns me. It's actually something that concerns and affects everyone else. In this time of quarantine, and especially as it passes, I believe the name of the game will be health. Physical, mental, and spiritual. Our state of health starts in the mind. And this current situation has numerous lessons for us. And we'll find out in the upcoming weeks, months, and years for sure. But I think right now it's a great opportunity for us to better understand the mind-body connection and how this affects the reality that we experience. In this upcoming time, the amount of thoughts and emotions is going to be very intense. And this is something that we can experience together on a global scale. And some people will choose to perceive this as a catastrophe, and others will choose to see this as a great opportunity for growth. Such intense experiences are a great gateway for transforming our beliefs and for shifting global consciousness. So definitely very interesting times, very difficult times as well. Our fear, well, this is what we're going to focus on today. I want to start off with the survival. Survival is our primary instinct based on the belief, the core belief that we are something separate from the rest. This is the basis of our fear. This is also why we associate fear with survival. We trust and we believe that throughout evolution, it was this fear that protected us from the snake that wanted to bite us. But we don't consider that it was actually the same fear that brought the snake to us. So in this time where of the great unknown, where health and financial survival are the main topics, it's only natural that this fear becomes our house guest. And what I want to focus on today is to show that we can actually choose the type of relationship that we have with this house guest. And this affects our immune system directly, and so, of course, the stuff that we can do in the physical world, such as eating healthy, sleeping well, meditating, working out, taking supplements, also, of course, washing our hands a lot, staying home. These are all very important things that we can do. But if all this is done from fear, then we might be in for a surprise. Why we did all these things and they still didn't work. So I believe that working on our relationship to fear is perhaps the most fundamental way that we can serve ourselves and others at this time. Now, of course, intellectual understanding, listening to me or reading about this stuff, it's important, and it inspires or may motivate us. But only through true experience can we transform some of these beliefs. And so in today's meditation, we will focus on the body. And the body is the key. It is the core, direct connection to this subconscious realm of our beliefs. In this meditation that we will do shortly, we'll focus on identifying and experiencing the feeling in the body and the feeling of fear. And, in every day in our subconsciousness, we do everything to avoid this feeling. And what happens is that we actually feed it even more, and we produce thoughts that sustain it. And this is how we get stuck in this cycle back and forth between emotion and thought. One feeds the other, and it sustains this intense spiral. So through the experience in our body and the feeling in the body, and really just being in a feeling is a way of being here and now. That's how we can learn to get out of our minds and accept the feeling that we're dealing with at hand without giving it extra context. With time, we learn to accept this as just a biochemical reaction in our body, and we see it for what it is. What I want to emphasize is this process is not about changing how you feel. Any attempt at changing something is actually coming from the ego, because it's coming from the idea of not being able to accept what is. And I'm mentioning this because very often, and I've done this several times, we fall into this path where we don't notice how very subtly our meditation actually becomes a tool of the ego. And we're thinking we're doing something, but actually we're just taking care of our ego very well. And we may call this spirituality, but in essence, we're doing something else. Today's exercise is not intended to make fear disappear from your life. It may require a lot of work to actually realize why we keep choosing and trusting fear in our lives. But this exercise is about identifying this feeling, learning to accept it, to be with it, to get acquainted with it, and see it in real time as it happens. And what happens is, in time, as we practice this, we notice that the beliefs that made us generate this feeling, in time, they start transforming because we've taken away the primary tool. So this is how this process I've observed works for me, and I'd like to share it with you. So let's move on to the meditation. Okay, please find a comfortable position to sit in. Try to keep your back straight. This allows for a free flow of energy, prana, through the Sushumna channel along the spine. I like to use a pillow. It allows my knees to be firmly grounded. I have a good opening right here where the root chakra is, where the fear is grounded and originates from. Keep your hands, I like to keep them on my belly. It allows me to keep my back straight, and just relax. Close your eyes. I want you to slowly settle in to your breath. Just natural inhale, natural exhale. As you sit on the ground, the pillow, try to feel exactly what the skin is feeling as it comes in contact with whatever it's sitting on. What is this feeling exactly? Is there a tension? Now I want you to think of something that makes you feel fear. Any idea in the current time or something that you have experienced that evokes the idea, the feeling of fear. What you call fear. This feeling arises, try to notice, what do you feel? Is it warm? Where do you feel this? Do you feel it on your face? Do you feel it in your chest? In your arms, in your legs. Where is this feeling? Observe your heart. How is it beating? Do you feel any tension anywhere? See exactly what the body feels and just the feeling. Try not to project or imagine what it is. Just feel it. As you sit inside this feeling, deep inside. Breathe into it. Don't try to sustain it, just be with it. Stay focused just on this feeling. Don't fight it. Don't sustain it. Just accept it. Observe it. Just keep breathing with it. If your thoughts wander off somewhere else, just think about the situation again and evoke this feeling and come back into it. Come back into this feeling. Observe the sensation in your body. That's all. Stay with this feeling. Open your eyes. The key to this type of exercise is your concentration, your focus, just on the feeling in the body. It's like walking with a cup full of hot tea and you're trying not to spill it. You're trying not to spill this attention on anything else but the feeling in your body. And as I said in the meditation, we're not trying to sustain this feeling, but staying focused on it. And it's a very thin line, because as we focus too hard, then we can what happens is we try to sustain it, and that focus keeps that feeling in our body. We just want to focus on it and be with it, and with practice, hopefully you had a chance to observe, or as you practice this, is that without thoughts and context, this feeling slowly fades away. So it cannot survive. This feeling cannot survive in our body. It's an instinctual feeling that our body gets in reaction to situations, associations. But without thoughts and context, it cannot survive. Thank you for your time and attention.